Well, hey there, friends, fans, and followers. Dave Turner here. Do you notice anything different under the hood in this shot? Well, if you've watched any of my previous videos, chances are you notice that I've got a different air compressor. A different air conditioning compressor. And so this is part one of what is probably going to be 2 or possibly 3 parts on upgrading from your RV2 compressor to a more modern Sanden-style. Let's take a look. So what you're looking at right now is a compressor I got from Bouchillon Performance Parts. I got the compressor and the bracket kit, and all in it was about $400 for those 2 items. I will put the part numbers I purchased in the description of this video because I don't recall what they were specifically offhand, but I do have this is a 1966 block. It is the original engine for the 66 Chrysler we're looking at right now, and so I had to use the earlier style bracket to fit onto the water pump housing because, as you may know, the RV2 condenser for 66 and prior sits way canted over towards the alternator side. And that caused some issues that I solved last year. You may remember that at some point someone put on a thermostat housing that was more or less straight up, and so the air conditioning compressor was rubbing on the hose. The air snorkel here was rubbing the hose. It was all wrong. So I had to replace the thermostat housing with the correct one for the 66 and earlier style, which was canted way over. In 67 they kind of moved it back this way, and that gave some more room for this stuff. But it also has a completely different water pump housing, 67 and later. So be careful that you get the right stuff. The casting number, the part number on the water pump housing is what you need to look at. So let's look at the bracketry. That's the most difficult thing to understand when you get your condenser and bracket kit, or rather compressor and bracket kit. They give you some nuts and bolts, they give you some spacers, and the instructions for the spacers, there it is, are none too clear. Let's look at the other side. You really have to read the instructions about 8 times and look at some photographs of other people's installations to get it all right. But this is the setup you need right here. The thick spacer goes on the back of the bracket but in front of the ear, and the thin spacer goes between the ear and the bracket. And then way down in here where the long bolt for the power steering pump goes through, I used, I think, 3 washers on one side of the bracket and 3 washers on the other side, and these washers are an absolute nightmare. I suggest a pair of needle nose pliers and an assistant and a lot of patience to get those on. And then the last little thing as a hassle is this nut and washer set way back in there, way down there. And yeah, you can get a wrench in there from the other side, this other side, but I literally got that nut started on the bolt by holding the nut with 2 fingers like this. I got it down in the hole there, and then I reached around. Oh, nice finger. Then I reached around with my other finger, and then I got the other side, and then with 2 fingers, 1 finger from each hand, I managed to get it onto the end of the bolt and get it going with the threads. And then I could get the wrench on it and tighten it up. It is not easy. It is not fun. It took me probably an hour and a half to mount this, but once installed, it is perfect. It utilizes the same belts in the same location. I didn't have to get new belts or anything. Everything bolts up just fine once you get the spacers and all that stuff figured out. So I will post a link in the description of this video to a little write-up I did over there on the For Sea Bodies Only website, with the part numbers and all that business, the washers, and there's some photos and things like that. Like I said, this is part 1. As you notice, I have not done the lines yet. So I got the compressor installed It's sitting here. It's not hooked up. There's no electricity going to it. So it's just freewheeling. It's not engaging the clutch or anything like that. So it's just freewheeling. And then in the spring, after winter is over, I will take this down to my local hot rod shop, and they're gonna make for me all new hoses for the high and low side. I'm planning to remove the condenser, flush it out, repair these little bits of damage. Hopefully it holds vacuum and it doesn't leak. I do have a new dry receiver ready to install when the time is right. I'm going to keep this hard line since it's fine. I'm just going to flush it out real good, and that will get me all the way back here to this other bunch of hoses. I do have a new valve ready to install here, so there'll be a new hose here. I'll get rid of the muffler. I already got rid of the muffler on that side, so it should be much more tidy under the hood as far as that goes. And yeah, I'll have working air conditioning for the first time since I've owned the car, and for the first time in who knows how long. So stay tuned for part 2. I'll have that out to you in the spring. And if you have questions or comments about anything I've done here, please leave a comment down below and I will get back to you. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're so inclined. Take care.